Hello there and welcome to the news tonight here on Rajya TV, your one-stop for the day's top stories from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Shilchi and here are the headlines. ISRO adds another feather to its cap, launches 20 satellites including 3 local and 17 foreign satellites, hopes to get a larger slice of the lucrative commercial space market. After Raghuram Rajan BJP MP Subramanian Swamy now trains his guns on the chief economic advisor, but the government stands by Arvind Subramanian, says that the BJP does not share Swamy's views. As the NSG plenary meet begins in Seoul, China softens its stand on India's membership bid, says it will play a constructive role in the discussions. Heavy rain and lightning strikes kill at least 70 people in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. More rains are expected in the next 2 days. And Leave and Remain campaigners make last-ditch efforts before the Brexit referendum on Thursday. The country goes to vote with both sides head-to-head in opinion polls. The Indian Space Research Organisation, or ISRO, has added another feather in its cap by launching 20 satellites in one go. ISRO launched 3 local and 17 foreign satellites from the Sriharikota space station in Andhra Pradesh on Wednesday. President Pranab Mukherjee, Vice President Hamid Ansari and Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the historic launch. In fact, with this launch, ISRO has also made a case for a larger slice of the lucrative commercial space market.
3, 2, 1, 0. +1, +2.
At 9:26 a.m. this morning, the PSLV C-34 blasted off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota on a historic flight. In the biggest ever Indian space mission, the Indian Space Research Organisation has successfully placed 20 satellites into the Earth's orbit in one single launch in just 26 minutes. The PSLV rocket soared through the sky carrying 20 satellites weighing 1,288 kgs. The mission's main satellite was the Cartosat-2 series satellite, which will be used for cartographic, urban, rural, coastal land use, water distribution and other applications. The PSLV C-34 also carried 2 microsatellites created by students of Indian universities, Swayam from the College of Engineering in Pune and Satyabhama Sat from Chennai's Satyabhama University. The foreign satellites launched included 1 each from Indonesia and Germany, 2 satellites from Canada and 13 from the United States. Most of these satellites will measure the Earth's atmosphere and aim to provide service for amateur radio operators. After the successful launch, congratulations poured in from across the country. In a tweet, President Pranab Mukherjee congratulated the ISRO team on the successful launch. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also hailed the 20 satellite record as a monumental accomplishment. He tweeted that India's space program has time and again shown the transformative potential of science and technology in people's lives.
पूरा विश्व ये मानता है कि हिंदुस्तान का इसरो का जो टेक्निक है वो सोसाइटल एप्लीकेशंस के लिए अगर कोई भी देश कोई भी स्पेस एजेंसी ज्यादा काम किया है वो इसरो है.
ISRO has so far launched 74 satellites for global consumers. Wednesday's launch also affirms its rising position as one of the key service providers for the launch of small satellites. PSLV's consistent success and lower costs compared to other launch platforms have added teeth to ISRO's attempts to effectively commercialize its operations. Before ISRO's record launch, NASA in 2013 launched 29 satellites in a single mission and Russia in 2014 launched 33 satellites in one go. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
After RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan, BJP leader Subramanian Swamy is now training his guns on the chief economic advisor, Arvind Subramanian. Demanding his sacking, Swamy said that Subramanian was working against the country's interests. But the government stood firmly behind the economist, saying that it does not share Swamy's views.
Well, the government has full confidence in the chief economic advisor, Mr. Arvind Subramanian. His... advice to the government from 2013 to 2017 was very clear. He has been very clear that he will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve his goals. He will not be able to achieve time to time has been of great value.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley defending the appointment of Arvind Subramanian as the Chief Economic Advisor, saying he was aware of his stance on key issues including the intellectual property rights. The Finance Minister also made it clear that he did not give any credence to Subramanian Swamy's remark.
From the point of view of discipline of Indian politicians, to what extent should we attack those? The discipline and constraints of whose offices prevent them from responding. And this has happened more than once.
Jaitley's remarks follow BJP leader Subramanian Swamy demanding the CEA's sacking. It all started with a tweet in which Swamy said that Arvind Subramanian had convinced the US to act against India to defend US pharma interests.
He had deposed against India, and he was also, while economic advisor to the BJP government, praising the Congress for its objections on GST. Now, I mean, are we running a government or we are running a seminar? You see? So I think he should go.
Swamy's attack on the chief economic advisor comes in the wake of reports of the latter being a probable successor to Raghuram Rajan as the country's central bank chief. With inputs from Vishal Daya, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Union Cabinet has approved a package of 6,000 crore rupees to boost employment in the textile sector. Norms for the next round of spectrum auction were also approved, even though the pricing of spectrum user charges will be fixed only after the receiving views of TRAI.
In a bid to boost manufacturing and exports and generate more jobs in textile sector, the Union Cabinet has approved a package of 6,000 crores.
इस सेक्टर को बूस्ट देने के लिए कुछ विशेष कदम उठाए जाएं और इसलिए कई स्टेप्स हैं. अभी आपको एक ब्रीफ प्रेजेंटेशन मिसेस रश्मि वर्मा देंगी जो सेक्रेटरी टेक्सटाइल हैं कि इस सेक्टर में अगले कुछ वर्षों में 1 करोड़ लोगों का, जिनमें 70% लगभग महिलाएं होती हैं, तो इसलिए कई इंसेंटिव्स देना, कहीं स्कीम्स को चेंज करना, रेगुलेशंस को चेंज करना, कि इस पोटेंशियल को हम पूरा रियलाइज कर पाएं.
The cabinet also gave its nod to 2 major road projects, including the 4-laning of Gandhi Setu in Patna.
टेलीकॉम कमीशन और एजी का ओपिनियन टीआरएआई के सुझाव के बाद में आए, इसलिए ये तय हुआ कि सारे प्रस्तावना को मंजूरी दे दी गई. केवल जो चार्जेस का इशू है, एसयूसी स्पेक्ट्रम यूजर चार्जेस का, सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स एक बार फिर टीआरएआई को दे दिए जाएं और शीघ्र ही अगले कुछ दिनों में उनकी पुनः एक बार राय ले ली जाए, so that we can fix the spectrum user charges.
Norms for the next round of spectrum auction were also approved. However, pricing of spectrum user charges will be fixed after receiving the views of TRAI. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
China on Wednesday said that it will play a constructive role in the discussions on India's bid for membership of the Nuclear Suppliers Group. Meanwhile, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar is in Seoul to further push India's bid at the plenary of the 48-nation grouping on the 23rd and 24th of June.
In an apparent climb down, China has further softened its stand on India's bid for membership of the 48-member NSG. China has said it will play a constructive role in the discussions, though it maintained that the issue was not on the agenda of the NSG meeting in Seoul.
That China will not be the sole country opposing India's bid to NSG, because in 2008 also, after Indo-US nuclear deal, China had gone along. China wanted others to oppose, and when others are falling in line, China will fall in line too.
Meanwhile, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar is also in Seoul ahead of the crucial NSG plenary starting Thursday. He will lead Indian efforts to clinch the NSG membership, which is strongly opposed by China and some other countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi too will take up the issue with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the SCO summit in Tashkent on June 23rd.
हमारी डिप्लोमेसी जो है जरा दबे होठों से होना चाहिए और चीन एवं पाकिस्तान के साथ हमारी बातचीत होनी चाहिए, तभी जाकर संभव होगा कि हम NSG के मेंबर बने।
China on Tuesday said the door is open for the admission of non-nuclear proliferation treaty members, but the members of the NSG should stay focused on whether the criteria should be changed. China leads the opposition to India's membership. Turkey, South Africa, Ireland and New Zealand are also against it. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to regional politics, and BSP leader and leader of opposition in the Uttar Pradesh Assembly, Swami Prasad Maurya, has resigned from the party. His resignation follows his outburst against Mayawati for auctioning tickets for the crucial Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections next year. He also said that he felt suffocated working in the party as the former Chief Minister has deviated from the party's principles. According to reports, Maurya could join the Samajwadi Party and find a post in the impending Akhilesh Yadav government's cabinet reshuffle next week. Reacting to the development, Mayawati appeared dismissive and said that Maurya had done a great favour to the party by quitting.
पहले श्री स्वामी प्रसाद मौर्य ये बताएं, इन्होंने खुद विधानसभा का चुनाव लड़ा, उनके लड़के को टिकट दिया, उनके लड़की को टिकट दिया। पहले वो ये बताएं कि उन्होंने बहुजन समाज पार्टी को कितना पैसा दिया इसके एवज में।
अच्छा पैठ रखने वाले कैंडिडेटों के चयन होना चाहिए था, वहां पर आज बड़े पैमाने पर ऊंची दामों को बोल बोल करके टिकट बदले जा रहे हैं और एक एक सीट पर कितनी कितनी बार टिकट बेचा जाएगा, टिकट नीलाम किया जाएगा, इसका भी कोई इंतहा नहीं रह गया है।
Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari inaugurated a two-day international yoga conference in the national capital on Wednesday. The Vice President hailed Prime Minister Narendra Modi's initiative and emphasized that yoga was a science, not a dogma that helps improve overall health profile. The Vice President also took cognizance of soaring social and economic costs of ill health and asserted that complementary health approaches like yoga was of paramount importance in developing nations due to their inability to augment public health expenditure. The two-day conference is being attended by 70 international delegates from 32 countries.
Overall, India stands to lose $4.58 trillion by the year 2030 due to non-communicable diseases and mental health conditions.
On to weather woes now, and several deaths have been reported in parts of north and eastern India as monsoon advanced to the region. Over 70 people have died in the last 2 days due to heavy rain and lightning strikes. Bihar is worst affected with 57 deaths. Here's a report.
At least 76 people have died by lightning in the last 2 days as violent storms and heavy rains lashed Bihar and parts of Uttar Pradesh. Bihar reported 57 deaths after an overnight storm on Tuesday. 47 people died in Rohtas district and 6 were reported dead in capital Patna.
बारिश हुआ तो बारिश में जब पेड़ था पेड़ पर हम लोग लुका गए थे, वहाँ से गिरा तो मतलब मालूम नहीं चला कब क्या हुआ, जब बीचे रास्ता है तब होश हुआ कि मतलब कुछ हुआ है.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar chaired an emergency meeting on Wednesday and announced compensation of 4 lakh rupees to the kin of victims. However, the death toll is expected to rise.
56 का आंकड़ा है, ये आंकड़ा बढ़ भी सकता है. इन्फॉर्मेशन आ रहा है, बहुत रिमोट एरिया से सीओज लोग का इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं आ पाया है, इसलिए देख रहे हैं कल 32 था, फिर 47 हुआ, फिर 56 हुआ. इस ढंग से फिर बढ़ भी सकती है, मगर सरकार हर देहरी तक पहुंचेगी आज.
According to weather reports, moderate to heavy rainfall and thunderstorms are likely in Bihar in the next 2 days. The monsoon is likely to shift towards central and western Uttar Pradesh this week. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take you through what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. A Law Ministry committee has recommended that there should be minimal interference of courts to ensure that public works projects are not stalled or delayed. The committee was set up in January to review the Specific Relief Act 1963 as part of the government's Ease of Doing Business initiative. The report submitted to Law Minister D.V. Sadanand Gowda comes months after commercial courts were established and arbitration laws amended for faster disposal of business disputes. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav is all set to expand his cabinet on the 27th of June. This will be the 7th and perhaps the last expansion of the cabinet since Yadav assumed office in 2012. After the surprise dismissal of Raghuram Yadav and the merger of the Qawmi Ekta Dal with the Samajwadi Party, there are 4 vacancies in the cabinet. In the last expansion in October 2015, Yadav had inducted 5 cabinet ministers, 8 ministers of state with independent charge, and 8 ministers of state. In a fresh turn of events in the Rohit Vemla case, a Guntur district collector has now ordered a fresh probe to determine whether he was a Dalit or not. Interestingly, the DC himself had submitted a report to the National Commission for Scheduled Castes stating that Vemla was a Dalit. According to sources, the probe has been ordered as 2 previous reports that looked into the Vemla case gave contrasting accounts, with one stating that he was a Dalit and the other suggesting that he belonged to the OBC category. Kerala police has approached its Karnataka counterpart to register a case against 2 college students for brutally ragging a Dalit nursing student from the state. The victim, a first-year nursing student, was forced to drink bathroom cleaning liquid, following which she fell ill and developed serious health problems. She was admitted in a hospital in Karnataka for a few days, after which she was sent home and is now being hospitalized at a Thrissur hospital. The families of 2 Telugu men who drowned in the US in 2 separate incidents have asked the government to bring their bodies home. Nambudri Sridatta, an employee in Tata Consultancy Services, and P. Naresh, a student in California, drowned on Sunday when they went on a picnic with their friends. Their families have appealed to the Indian government to make arrangements to bring their bodies home at the earliest. With a quick break here, we'll be back with the international news in a bit. Stay with us.
How are you really going to bring about a balancing act between the hardline and the moderate groups?
The Prime Minister has said, whatever my party president has said, is the line that which we are going to adopt.
Another trouble for the BJP is Varun Gandhi. At the National Executive, we saw his posters plastered across the city. Apparently, Modi ji didn't like this fact.
When these enthusiast supporters do something like that, they don't realize that they can, rather than doing good for their leader, they can do harm for the leader.
Watch To The Point with BJP National Secretary and spokesperson Siddharth Nath Singh only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Let's get you international news, and all eyes on the United Kingdom as they prepare for a crucial referendum on Thursday on whether to stay or leave the European Union. British Prime Minister has urged voters to stay with the EU, saying that there could be far-reaching economic and political consequences should Britain choose to leave. Meanwhile, Leave and Remain campaigners debated heavily on the issue in a last-ditch effort to woo voters.
British Prime Minister David Cameron made a dramatic last-minute appeal to voters to back staying in the European Union. Painting a grim picture if Britain leaves Europe, he said leaving would have far-reaching economic and political consequences for the country and the whole of Europe.
I believe very deeply from my years of experience that we will be stronger, we will be safer, we will be better off inside Europe. To put it as clearly as I can, our economic security is paramount. It is stronger if we stay. If we leave, we put it at risk.
Meanwhile, in a last-ditch effort to persuade voters, UK's Leave and Remain campaigners clashed in a televised debate. The Leave campaign, led by Conservative MP and former Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, said that Britain had handed too much power to the European Commission and termed Thursday's vote a vote for independence.
Our entire trade negotiating policy is consecrated, is handed over to the EU Commission, where only 3.6% of the officials actually come from our country. And it is no wonder that they have not been, as Andrea rightly says, they have not been able to do essential free trade deals with China, with India, with all the growth economies of the world, including America.
Remain campaigners, including the London Mayor Sadiq Khan, accused the opposition of scaring people by telling lies.
You're scaring people to vote to leave the EU because, I'll tell you this, you're telling lies. Turkey is not set to join the EU. Turkey is not set to join the EU. You're telling lies and you're scaring people because you have used taxpayers' money to put out an election leaflet that says Turkey's set to join, and there's a map.
UK has been warned by world leaders, investors and companies that a decision to leave would diminish the former imperial powers' influence. Experts also say that the country risks losing international cooperation in the fight against terrorism. Leaving EU will also affect thousands of migrant workers that has become an emotive issue before the vote.
This is jobs that wouldn't have been taken by anybody else. So it's not about anybody pressing anybody out or squeezing the prices down. This is about a new demand that wasn't there before.
Myślę, że zagłosują jednak na tym, żeby zostać. Gdyby ewentualnie potoczyło się inaczej, doszłoby do tego, że Anglia będzie opuszczać, no wiąże się to z moim powrotem do Polski.
I worry just maybe a little bit because this will be a reflect to us. On one way or other, we live here a long time, we work here, we pay taxes. So when we going back to Bulgaria, that time will be lost.
Pro-EU activists across Europe have urged the nation to remain within the 28-member bloc. A record number of voters have registered for the referendum, with around 46.5 million people signing up to cast their ballot. Opinion polls have shown a divided vote, with younger voters more in favor of staying in the EU, while older voters tending to favor a Brexit. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
North Korea on Wednesday launched 2 intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Japan's direction. According to South Korea's military, the missile test fired by North covered 400 kilometers, more than halfway towards the southwest coast of Japan's main island of Honshu. The test was considered as the most effective test yet. South Korea's President Park Geun-hye said that North Korea was heading towards self-destruction with its continued missile and nuclear tests. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe also condemned the missile test, calling the act unforgivable. Meanwhile, China called for the relevant party to avoid further worsening situation on the Korean peninsula after the North's missile test. The launches and earlier nuclear tests show continued defiance of international warnings and a series of UN Security Council resolutions and sanctions which North Korea rejects as an infringement of its sovereignty.
북한이 이러한 도발을 포기하지 않는 한 세계의 어떤 나라도 북한과 정상적인 관계를 맺지 않을 것이며 어떤 기구도 북한의 도움의 손길을 내밀지 않을 것입니다.
那么对于中朝关系，我们的态度也是非常明确的。中朝关系保持健康稳定的发展呢，这样对于解决朝鲜半岛的核问题、维护半岛的和平稳定都是有利的。所以呢，我们也会继续。
Meanwhile, Japan, which is still recovering from the twin earthquakes in April, now faces another natural calamity. Heavy rains have resulted in flooding and landslides, taking at least 6 lives. And over in China, persistently heavy rainfall has triggered serious crop damage along with human fatalities. Here's a report.
At least 6 people have died and 2 are missing as record-breaking rains battered parts of southwestern Japan on Wednesday. The region was only just recovering from the deadly earthquakes 2 months ago that set off flooding and landslides.
もうテレビの音も聞こえないし、雷が鳴るじゃない。そう窓はちょっと開けたらもう真っ白で、うちの外の街灯が見えるわけでね、その街灯も見えない。遠にがひどかったね。
Police are now looking for an elderly man who is believed to have been swept up in the irrigation canals. Authorities have warned of further landslides in areas where the ground was weakened by a 7.3 magnitude earthquake in April. Thousands are still living in evacuation centers, recovering from that. Meanwhile, persistent rain in China has led to crop damage and the collapse of over 10,000 houses. Estimated economic losses were more than $1 billion. China has frequently been devastated by natural disasters, particularly by floods and earthquakes. Flooding in the country has been worsened by the urban sprawl and poor drainage infrastructure in many cities. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. The aircraft debris found in Australia's Kangaroo Islands this month is not from the missing airline MH370. The debris was examined at the Australian Transport Safety Bureau laboratories. The Malaysian Airlines flight had vanished in 2014 with 239 passengers on board when it was flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The United Nations Security Council has strongly condemned the Kabul terror attacks which killed 27 people, including 2 Indians and 13 Nepalese on the 20th of June. The Taliban had claimed responsibility for the attacks. In fact, the UNSC also expressed concerns over terror organizations like Taliban, Al-Qaeda and the ISIS and their armed groups' presence in Afghanistan posing a threat to local administration, defense forces and foreign diplomats. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange will be questioned by Swedish authorities after he completes his 5th year in asylum at the Ecuador embassy in London. He is wanted in Sweden since 2010 on a rape complaint. Assange claims that the charges are false in an attempt to eventually transfer him to the US to face charges on WikiLeaks' activities. An 8-year-old jaguar known as Juma, who participated as a mascot for an Olympic torch ceremony in Manaus, was killed by a Brazilian soldier at a zoo. The incident has been slammed by several animal rights groups. The Amazonian Environmental Protection Institute has begun a probe, especially since jaguars are a rare and threatened species that has already been wiped out from Uruguay and El Salvador. All right, on to sports news now, and starting with cricket. In India has defeated Zimbabwe by 3 runs in a thrilling third and final T20 match at Harare to win the series 2-1. Put into bat first on a slow track, India kept losing wickets regularly, allowing the host to restrict them to a low total. The visitors managed to score 138, all thanks to a gritty maiden half-century from Kedar Jadhav. In reply, the hosts were off to a positive start, but another mid-innings collapse pushed them back in the chase. Maruma's heroics brought the home team close to a series win as they required just 4 off the last ball. However, the Dhoni-led team held its nerves for a narrow win.
Very well bowled.
And now let's get you more updates from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Indian boxers L. Devendra Singh, Sumit Sangwan, Manoj Kumar and Vikas Krishnan are just a step away from qualifying for the Rio Olympics in their respective weight category. Vikas Krishnan became the 4th Indian boxer to enter the quarterfinals of the World Olympic Qualifying Tournament after a 3-0 win over his Georgian opponent. On Tuesday, Sangwan and Manoj Kumar reached the quarters, needing only a win for Olympic qualification, and Devendra Singh needs to reach the final to qualify from his category. In the Euro 2016 Football Cup, Croatia stunned title holder Spain in a Group D match to qualify for the round of 16. Alvaro Morata gave Spain an early lead, but Croatia came back strong to win 2-1 and handed Spain their first Euro defeat in 12 years. In another match, Germany beat Northern Ireland 1-0 as both teams qualified from their group. Poland also booked a place in the last 16 with a 1-0 win over Ukraine. In Copa America, Lionel Messi led Argentina to the finals with a 4-0 routing of hosts USA. The Barcelona forward passed Gabriel Batistuta's 54-goal tally with a stunning free kick. Messi also provided an assist to Lavezzi's opener, while Gonzalo Higuain scored twice as Argentina made it to the final 2nd time in a row. Four-time major winner Rory McIlroy has withdrawn from the Rio Games, citing health fears over the Zika virus. Vijay Singh and Australia's Mark Leishman have already pulled out of the Games due to the same reason. World number 4 McIlroy's decision is a blow to the sport, which is making a return to the Olympics after a 112-year absence. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. From the entire team here, good night. See you again tomorrow.
Thank you.